Okay, let's talk about something that's on pretty much everyone's mind right now, AI. It's moving so incredibly fast, and the biggest question is, what does all this actually mean for your job, for your career?
All right, let's just get right into it. The big one. Will AI take my job? I mean, you can't escape the headlines, right? On one side, you hear about this utopian future with amazing productivity. On the other, it's all doom and gloom about mass layoffs. And that anxiety, it's totally real. But the truth, well, it's way more complicated and honestly, a lot more surprising than you might think.
So you've got these two totally opposite stories. Story one, AI is a productivity miracle. It's going to make everything cheaper, faster, better. Story two, AI is this engine of inequality, a force that's going to wipe out stable careers and make the rich even richer. So, which one is it? Let's dig in and see what's really going on.
Okay, so our first section gets right to the heart of it. And here's the first big surprise, something that kind of flips the whole conversation on its head. It turns out that asking, will AI take my job, might just be the wrong question.
Yeah, you heard that right. Andrew Ng, who's a huge name in the AI world, basically says that this popular idea of a robot just showing up and taking your desk, it's mostly a myth. The reality is a lot more subtle. It's more about changing jobs than just deleting them.
And this is the key idea right here, the difference between a task and a job. Just think about your own workday for a second. You don't do just one thing, right? Your job is made up of like 100 little tasks. And AI is getting amazing at some of those specific repeatable tasks. Writing a first draft of an email or crunching some numbers. But taking over the entire role, the whole messy, creative human thing, not so much.
Okay, but if entire jobs aren't just vanishing, then where is all this disruption we keep hearing about? Well, this is where things get really interesting and kind of backwards from what we've seen before. Previous automation waves we thought of factory floors, right? Blue-collar work. This time, the bullseye is right on white-collar office jobs.
Seriously, for years, we all kind of assumed that jobs in fields like law or finance or even journalism were safe. They required a brain, a human touch. But with generative AI, that protective wall has just crumbled. There's a quiet revolution happening in cubicles and home offices, and it's shaking the very idea of what a middle-class career looks like. And look at these examples. We're talking about AI auditing financial data for accounts. We're talking about it drafting legal docs for paralegals. It's even writing sports recaps and financial news. So again, it's not that we're going to wake up tomorrow and all the accountants are gone. It's that the stuff a junior accountant used to do to learn the ropes, a lot of that is now being automated, and that changes the whole game.
And let's be clear, this isn't some sci-fi prediction for 2050. This is happening right now. Just look at the tech industry. Over 250,000 people laid off in 2023. And get this, many of these companies were posting record profits. They were straight up saying that new efficiencies from AI were a reason for the cuts.
And this leads to a really big, kind of scary problem. It's not just about losing today's jobs. It's about losing tomorrow's experts. Think about it. How do you become a senior architect if an AI designs all the basic floor plans? How do you learn to be a great coder if AI tools write all the simple code for you? When you automate those first few rungs of the career ladder, you basically take the whole ladder away. So this brings us to what's called the productivity paradox. And it's a huge one. It seems logical, right? If AI is making companies way more productive and they're making more money, then workers should be getting a piece of that pie. But that's not what's happening. Not even close. So the big question is, where is all that money going?
Just look at this chart. It's kind of jaw-dropping. For the last 40+ years, the amount of stuff we produce per hour, our productivity has just shot through the roof. We're way more efficient. But look at the other bar. The typical worker's pay has basically flatlined. All this new value is being created, but it's not ending up in people's paychecks. The gap is just massive.
And AI is like pouring gasoline on this fire. All those gains, all that new efficiency, it's not going to labor, to the employees doing the work, it's going to capital. That means the owners of the company, the shareholders, the people at the very, very top. It's just making the gap between the rich and everyone else even wider.
And to put that into perspective, just look at this. The richest 10% of people in the US now hold 70% of all the wealth. Let that sink in for a second. The other 90% of us are sharing the remaining 30%. This is the world that AI is entering, and it's super important to remember that. But hold on, the story has another twist. And this one is genuinely surprising, because for the people who are still in the game, who are working in these changing professions, AI can have a really different and kind of positive effect. Yeah, research is showing something pretty wild. It turns out AI can be a great equalizer. When you give these tools to a team, it doesn't just raise the average. It actually gives the biggest helping hand to the beginners, the novices, and helps them catch up to the experts way, way faster.
Check this out. A big study looked at customer service agents. They gave them an AI assistant. The result? The brand new hires, the least experienced people, saw their performance shoot up by a third, a 34% boost. And the grizzled veterans, the experts who already knew everything, they got basically nothing. The AI didn't teach them much they didn't already know. It just lifted the whole bottom of the team up.
But, and this is a huge but, here's the dark side of that same coin. If AI can make a novice act like an expert, why would a company ever bother hiring and training a novice again? When is the right time to let someone slower who makes more mistakes handle a task? The research basically says never. And boom, we're right back to that disappearing career ladder. The tool that closes the skill gap also makes the learner kind of obsolete.
So, where does that leave us? Well, here's the most important takeaway of all. None of this is set in stone. The future isn't something that's just going to happen to us. It's not being coded by some algorithm. It's being built by the choices we, as a society, as companies, as individuals, make starting today.
We actually have a pretty good roadmap for how to do this. We can push for policies that encourage AI to augment people, to be a co-pilot, not just a replacement. We can make sure that access to this amazing tech isn't just locked up by a few giant corporations. And maybe most importantly, we have to get serious about retraining and upskilling people so they can thrive alongside these new tools.
Look, at the end of the day, AI is just a tool. It's an unbelievably powerful one, maybe the most powerful we've ever invented. And with that tool, we can build a future with more opportunity for everyone. Or we can use it to build a future that's even more unequal. The technology itself doesn't have an opinion. It's not going to make the choice for us. We will.